Hello, this is Thomas Hudson, the Walking Better, and I'm right here in Alma, Arkansas, known as the Crossroads of America. I've had the distinct honor of being in the mayor's office, Mayor Keith Greene. And Mayor, since I've been here, I've learned a little bit about why this is the Crossroads of America. Do you want to say a little bit to everybody out there in the world?
Well, I can tell you how it all started many years ago. At one time, Crawford County, the western boundary of Crawford County was Muskogee, Oklahoma, and the eastern boundary was Russellville, Arkansas. And years ago, in 1872, Alma was an incorporated city. And 5 years later, the city father, since this was the center of the county, decided to see if they could petition to get it on the ballot to vote to make Alma the county seat. Well, they lost by 200 votes. But nevertheless, Alma has remained the crossroads of this part of the country for a long time. Now, the county's shrunk in size. Today, the Arkansas border, Crawford County, is right on the Oklahoma state line, and it goes to the east to Franklin County. But Alma still is the center of the county and the crossroads.
Well, since I've been here, I've noticed that you're at the intersection of Interstate 40, which is a major vacation thoroughfare from the East Coast to the West Coast. It's also Interstate 49. It goes up from Interstate 40 to Fayetteville,
Northwest Arkansas, yes, sir.
The home of the Razorbacks, and on up through Bentonville, the home of Walmart, the world's largest retailer. It's also, I've learned, that they're going to start on making Interstate 49 all the way down to connect with 49 in Louisiana and all the way down to the coast. So that will bring, I would think it would bring a major boom to this area.
We have the possibility here to grow in size in the next 20 years to our population reaching at least 20 to 25,000 people. And we have the, right now from Ashdown, Arkansas to Alma is the part of 49 that hasn't been completed yet, except for a little stretch that runs from Barling over to 71 Highway, south of Fort Smith. But there's a lot of folks working on this to try to make it happen. And one of the things that sometimes you think you're all alone, but you're not. There's 8 interstates that cross east and west off of I-49 from the Gulf up to the Canadian border. So you've got folks all the way along that corridor that are lobbying to get this done. And we just got about a 150-mile stretch that needs to be completed, but you're talking about $1.5 billion to get it done. So they're doing a study right now for the possibility of making it a toll road, which that may come to pass on most new highway construction in the country just because of the shortage of funds.
Well, here's one of the big things that I noticed, and we talked about this a few minutes ago. Anytime I've ever looked at moving into a new house, neighborhood, I always like going back on the weekend when neighbors are out doing their lawns, and I'd get out and introduce myself and ask them questions about, like, schools. This school out here is just phenomenal for a town this size, and your football field, the press box, I thought it was a NASCAR race here. You have a most beautiful school in the Performing Arts Center. Wow, that is just beyond. Anybody out there wanting to move somewhere, this is the place to buy land when it's a lot economically affordable, because this will be a boom area. The you got to see this Center for the Performing Arts. How did that come about? And I learned that they spend big time money in doing all these plays and dances, things of that nature. They have a season. So how does a town like this come up with a performing arts center like that?
Well, we had a school superintendent here, Mr. Charles Dyer, that had quite a vision on what the Alma school system could be, and under his direction, you see this football field that we got right here behind. It's all artificial turf, and we've got an indoor arena that will seat 3,000 people for the basketball games and other events. And then the Performing Arts Center will seat 1,500. And we have plays from New York and all over Chicago. People come here and put on shows. And the proceeds from those shows go to scholarships for the senior students that are graduating. Like this year, for instance, we gave away $100,000 to about 90 students that were graduated this year. But the school system is one of the best in the state. We have close to 3,600 students in the 4 schools that we have. And the variety, they have something to do for everybody as far as extracurricular activities.
And that's very important for families that want to move somewhere. That's one of the first things. If you got children, people out there, you got to come to this town. Check out this school system. You will just not believe it until you see it. I understand you're a veteran.
Yes, sir. United States Army.
And if I may stop you, Mayor, with all due respect, you remember the days, I'm going to flat out tell you as a veteran. Mayor, I work for a living. What does that mean? You called me a sir? I was English. But when did you serve in the Army?
I served in the Army. I went in, I volunteered, and I went in September of 1961 and got out in August of 1964.
Do you know how old I was? It's such an honor to be, you don't think about it when you're a child, but then as you get older, you cross paths with the heroes that we learn about on the news or something of that nature. You're also a pilot, aren't you?
Yes, sir. Had 35 years in civil aviation. Owned at least 5 aircraft in the time that I flew, and accumulated somewhere in the neighborhood of around 2,500 hours flight time.
And you're actively involved with the American Legion?
Been an American Legion member for 45, going on 46 years.
And do you have any kind of position or?
This year I've just been elected again to serve as the first vice commander of American Legion Post 31 in Fort Smith, Arkansas. And that's a position I held before. And then prior to that, I was the post commander for 2 years.
Well, I learned something a little bit about you that, you see, I do my advanced intel. You do so much for young people and inspire them and get involved. That's very impressive. And that, because I'm very passionate that we need to inspire young people. And especially as a veteran, as I preach to other veterans, we need, when we can, we need to get out and support those who come support us. We attended an event Sunday, and you had those young people, and I spoke down there, and I mentioned the young people coming out. It was so impressive, seeing all the young people coming out. A young lady sung the Star Spangled Banner. What was that event about? You spoke there.
That was for a show of support for a citizen of Alma now. His name is Fred Potter, 88-year-old veteran. Served 3 different branches in the Army, Marines, and Air Force, or no, Army National Guard, I believe it was. And he served his country honorably and got out and became a responsible citizen, and he's just going through a bad time right now because of some legal situations that a relative has got him involved in.
Well, Sunday, what would they call that event? Veterans Walk in Solidarity.
Yeah, Veterans Walk in Solidarity.
It was so wonderful seeing people come from all over carrying an American flag.
A lot of support, and as far as I'm concerned, anybody that served and took that oath to defend this country, whether on foreign shores or right here domestically, hey, they're heroes. I mean, there's a whole lot of folks, many folks that never went through that process.